Hello from wherever you are in the world. A very special guest with us today. And if you're wondering, who the heck is this guy on the screen? My name's in the corner. My name is Paul. I am a member at Underground Athlete, a semi-private training facility based in Northern Virginia. And I wanted to have a casual conversation with a fellow member who I met recently. We have been doing virtual training for a couple of months now, and we were working out together, and it never occurred to me that this person was working out with me, felt like in the same room, but she was on the other side of the world. So I'm going to bring on Karen, a fellow Underground Athlete member. Hey, Karen, how you doing?
Hey, Paul, I'm pretty good.
Awesome. George is tuning in. Lydia is tuning in from Herndon, Virginia as well. Karen, give us the background on how you found out about Underground Athlete.
So I found out about Underground Athlete from a friend of mine named Sherry. I had been working out on my own for a very long time. I lost a fair amount of weight before I came to Underground Athlete. I think about 80 pounds or so working out on my own at home. And I knew absolutely nothing about how to use a single piece of gym equipment besides like a tiny set of 5-pound dumbbells. I tried a ton of different classes, stuff like hot yoga, bar classes, Pilates, and I just really wasn't feeling the vibe. I couldn't get in touch with my chi. I wasn't feeling the ballet princess dream that a lot of women in the Northern Virginia area really seem to be enjoying at the time. I have a few friends who love bar classes. It just wasn't for me. So my friend Sherry talked me into joining her at Underground Athlete. And I was just hooked from the first session, actually seeing how much weight I could lift, learning about how to load up a barbell, even though that first class took way longer than it should have because I needed so much help. I just got hooked from there.
What would you say your biggest fear was coming into the gym? What was that biggest roadblock for you to say, all right, Sherry, I'm ready to go check out this place called Underground Athlete?
Oh, embarrassment, easily. I mean, I didn't know how to use anything. The barbell, what's a weight clamp? Dumbbells come this big? What are all these machines? Wait, I'm supposed to do pull-ups now? I mean, from stuff like that, not knowing how to actually use many of the pieces of equipment, from that to just being embarrassed about what I look like in the gym. Everybody gets hot and sweaty. But man, Sterling was a whole different ball game with no AC and just a giant industrial fan. And also just, I changed a lot physically over the course of losing some weight before I came to Underground Athlete, and I was just really embarrassed about it.
What was it like when you actually got into the gym, working with the coaches, being around the other members? Was it embarrassing? What was that experience like for you?
Some days I felt a little embarrassed because it would take me so much longer than some of the other people that we had training to complete the same exercises, or I would be in total awe. There was a member whose name I actually do not recall she could crush pull-ups. Unbelievable. As I'm over there like, Clay, I need an assist. Maybe next level of assist. Is there something we could do instead? I can't do this, man. I'm not strong enough for this. But it ended up being a really positive experience as I saw that maybe I couldn't do all those pull-ups, but man, could I crush some of those stretches after the finisher. And I just really, really ended up enjoying watching my progress, especially with weightlifting, watching my weights go up, gaining a lot more confidence, even in terms of just doing a classic back squat.
Mm-hmm.
And I became significantly more comfortable, though I will say there are days even on Zoom when I'm like, man, I really hope nobody's looking at me right now because I'm about to slip in my own sweat.
You mentioned Zoom. Bring us up to speed in terms of Your name tag here says Nairobi, so you're clearly not here in the States. You're on the other side of the world. You mentioned Zoom. Fill everyone in on what you're talking about.
All right. So these days, thanks to the advent of our lovely coronavirus pandemic, everything is closed, even here in Nairobi, Kenya. So I'm doing my training from the comfort of my home here with Underground Athlete via Zoom, which has been an interesting journey trying to use items around my house or whatever fitness equipment I can scrounge. I ended up out here in Nairobi, Kenya as a member of the Department of State. I'm actually a Foreign Service Officer working at U.S. Embassy, Nairobi. While my preference is to follow my Underground Athlete programming in a physical gym, that's just not possible right now, so I'm doing it from home.
What's that been like for you? What type of, like, are you doing your own workout just with other people, or is it a custom program? Give us an insight on what the training program's like.
So I've been doing a little bit of custom programming. I was fortunate enough to borrow some fitness equipment, a barbell, some weight plates, and one of the lovely coaches at Underground Athlete, Andrew, hooked me up with a little bit of a weightlifting program so I could keep my calluses going for a little bit. But I'm also following Justin's absolutely murderous COVID series of programming, as well as doing a bunch of the group HIIT classes to try and keep myself at some absolutely terrible level of cardio fitness. It's pretty bad, but at least the group HIIT classes let me see other people, let me see some of the other members, and really get moving a lot faster than I am on my own.
So you did the in-person stuff. Now you are overseas and you're still doing workouts virtually with all of us other swole mates, as I like to call us. What would you want other people to know if they aren't familiar with Underground Athlete? What's the one thing you'd want them to know?
I think the one thing that I would want people to know about Underground Athlete is that they shouldn't be intimidated. When you look at the pictures of the coaches, when you look at some of the success stories that are on the website, or you even look at videos online, read some of the articles about Underground Athlete, I think it can come off as a little bit intimidating, especially to people who are relatively new to fitness, which is how I considered myself when I joined Underground Athlete, because everybody looks, like you said, swole. Everyone looks really fit, really capable. I know I thought to myself, none of these people have ever had a question about an exercise, and no one here looks like they can't do any of the exercises, but people really shouldn't be intimidated. I can do stuff now that I couldn't have done when I came to Underground Athlete, and I certainly couldn't have done before I started working out in general. And you know, I still run into stuff that I can't do, and I think that's true of everyone. It just doesn't necessarily seem that way when you look up the pictures online.
Yeah, thanks for giving us some insight to that. If you're watching on YouTube, if you have any questions that you would like Karen to answer live, let us know. Looks like we have a few people watching. So let us know where you're tuning in from. The beauty of the virtual training at Underground Athlete is I have met Karen, who I didn't previously know prior to her moving across the world to Nairobi. And now we are working out together virtually via Zoom with the awesome coaches here at Underground Athlete. Karen, can you kind of paint a before and after of before you started at Underground Athlete and where you're at now, kind of both your physical and maybe mental changes that you've gone through?
Oh man, what a question. There's a lot there. So physical changes wise, I think when I came to Underground Athlete, I dropped from a size 18 on a good day, 20 on a normal one, to be totally honest, to about a size 10. And by the time I left for Nairobi, with just a few months of training with the awesome coaches at Underground Athlete, I was down to a size 6, which, is only helpful for the women out there. But for my bros, for all the guys out there, I am now, at this point, according to my latest in-body scan for however much stock you put in that technology, I've reached a point where I'm about 8 to 10% stronger than most women my age in every muscle category. And that is all due to Underground Athlete. While I was much slimmer compared to before I started working out at home, I wasn't very strong at all. Now, it's no problem for me to lift something heavy. I don't have any real issues moving stuff around my house, even like the heavy embassy issued furniture, which is insanely heavy hardwood stuff. So I'm thankful for that. But also on a confidence level, while I still do get a little intimidated in a gym if everyone who's there appears to be significantly more fit than I am, and I'm thinking to myself, ooh, probably should have skip the carbs yesterday, maybe less wine. God, I need a diet. I need to tighten. While I may be thinking about that kind of thing, because it's somewhat unavoidable when you see someone who's way better looking than you in the gym, at least when I go to the machines now, I'm not totally lost.
Yeah, it sounds like you've gained a ton of confidence and being 8 to 10% stronger than other women. How does that make you feel?
Oh, it's awesome. There may be days when I'm not feeling great about how I look in something. I blame all the snacking I'm doing in my pandemic isolation here, and my own lack of self-control. But it's a pandemic, trying to be kind to myself. So while there may be days when I don't think I'm looking too great compared to, other days in the past, pre-coronavirus, I do know I'm strong enough to face basically any challenge that I'm going to run into in my daily life. I'm strong enough that I can sometimes, help the groups at the embassy that do procurement and stuff, help carry in heavy crates, help move stuff around the embassy, and actually be a true asset when I'm helping out. It's just awesome to have that feeling that if it's something that one single person should be able to lift or do, that I can do it without needing to call someone for help.
Yeah, that is pretty cool. See a couple of the coaches tuning in here. Andrew has a message for you. Whoop, whoop. Awesome, Karen.
Oh, thanks, Andrew.
So there's, you said a couple of things that made me a little curious on what you would say to someone who might be stuck at home with the COVID stuff, but they know that they want maybe some extra motivation or accountability. What would you say to someone who is perhaps looking for something that will take them to the next step in their fitness journey?
Ooh, let's see. I think this one is kind of a tough question because I feel like it varies significantly what will push someone to that next step. For me, it was just being really frustrated with feeling like I couldn't do stuff that normal people could do, feeling like I didn't necessarily fit places, that I couldn't shop places, and I just reached a point of frustration where I couldn't handle it anymore, and that kind of tipped it for me. And then again, I reached a point where I knew I wasn't reaching the potential that I could have working out on my own, and that it was time for professional guidance. And I will say that neither of those two pretty significant dates for the course of my fitness journey, when I initially started working out at home or when I joined Underground Athlete, there was nothing special about them. It was a random day of the week, random month. By chance, the motivation just started. And I definitely had days where everything seemed too difficult. Even after I joined Underground Athlete, there were days when I would look at the training program, look at the temperature outside because I was working out at Sterling, and just think to myself, I don't think I can do this. I really don't think that I'm strong enough. I don't think I'm fit enough. I really don't know if this is for me. And I think the main thing is to just know that if you took the first step, if you took any first step, that means you are strong enough to take the next step. You have to decide that for yourself. No one can push you into the next step for you. You have to take it, but it's all down to you and your willpower. If you take the first step, you can continue to take the others, even if you falter a little bit. We all get behind. We all have bad weeks for diet, bad weeks for training. I have some terrible HIIT sessions where I'm, face out on a wall to try and cool myself down. But I think the main thing is just to continue going back, to continue trying to push forward no matter what.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. After hearing you say a few things about your experience at Underground Athlete in terms of having the distance training, doing some training in person, having the custom programs written, tailored specifically for you, what makes Underground Athlete different from a typical box gym that you could go to?
For me, it's the personalized touch. While I've not actually met Andrew or Megan in person, I still feel that they know me. And of course, I know Clay and George from some very early days, and I apologize for how difficult I was to work with in the early days and how difficult I am even now sometimes when I'm having an off day. But you have a group of coaches who know you, who are invested in you attaining your goals, because the size of Underground Athlete is such that they're familiar with every member. They've read about you. They've talked to you. They're thinking about you and your fitness and how you can be the best version of yourself when you exit any type of session, whether it's custom programming, whether it's Justin's COVID programming, or one of the HIIT sessions. Each coach who works at Underground Athlete is invested in you as an individual person. And it's beyond the individual fee that you would pay at a box gym for personal training. They're invested even when you're not working out with them. I get messages from George and Clay and Andrew and Justin and Megan all the time asking how I'm doing, checking in, letting me know that they're there for me if I need anything else on any kind of level. And having that connection, I think, helps for me. It really helps me to maintain motivation, to know that, I'm not taking like a personal training fee out of someone's pocket. What I'm doing is I'm actually letting Clay or Andrew or Megan or George or Justin down if I don't show up for my session and give as much as I can in the moment.
Karen, I couldn't agree with you more on that. I'm a little biased because I feel the same way. UA Underground Athlete is like a family to me, and it sounds like it's the same to you. And having those people that care about you and will check in on you when you need it the most is super meaningful. Last question for you before we close out our conversation. What is your favorite part about Underground Athlete?
Ooh, also a tough question because there are so many things that I like. I think my favorite part of Underground Athlete is when I ask for a substitution or I tell one of the coaches, I really can't do this, either today or in general. This is something that I can't do. I'm worried about hurting myself, or I don't have the equipment to do this. That I'm not challenged on that. I think one thing I've run into at the physical gym I used to take my underground athlete programming to before the pandemic shut everything down was that if I asked one of the trainers there for assistance on form or to show me a move that I couldn't find a video of with a 7 or 8 hour time difference, don't really want to be waking one of the coaches up at midnight, 1 a.m. to get answers on my training. Many times they would show me something, I would say I couldn't do it, and they would immediately tell me to try it. You could do it. You could definitely do it. Just try harder as I'm, struggling on like a pull-up bar. Just, nope, didn't make it at all. Everyone at Underground Athlete has suggestions for how you can get something done if you want to try, how you can improve if you think your form is terrible, or like me, you can get maybe a quarter of a way into a pull-up still after years of trying to work on it. And if it's really something you can't do, there are a number of substitutions that can be made. And if you don't like one substitution, you want to switch it up, you can always ask for another one. So that level of flexibility, together with the understanding that there are some things maybe I can't do, some things that I might be able to do, but I'm not comfortable with because I don't want to put myself in the hospital with a gym injury, which would be super embarrassing, that I have that and that I don't feel embarrassed to ask for it because everyone is just nice and really professional about it.
Yeah. You mentioned the time difference. What time is it right now in Nairobi?
Right now it is almost 5 p.m.
Well, thanks for spending your afternoon, early evening, I guess, with me chatting about your experiences at Underground Athlete. I hope you have an awesome rest of your day. I'm going to go ahead and close out our conversation here. Thank you so much,
Sounds
Karen.
good. It was lovely to talk to you, Paul.
Thanks. Bye. If you are interested in learning more about Underground Athlete, if this is your first time hearing about it, don't worry, we don't bite. Head on over to undergroundathlete.com. Check it out. There's a couple of different options right now based on either the virtual training or we have special socially distant in-person coaching with limited people in a private facility here at Underground Athlete. So if you're interested, head on over to undergroundathlete.com. No pressure. Check it out. If you see us around in person, virtually, don't hesitate to come up and say hello. We would love to tell you about our experiences and get to know you. That's one of the awesome parts of Underground Athlete is the community and getting to know each other. So I wanted to go ahead and end our show with a short clip. It's a montage of clips that just give you some insight of what the community is like here on a normal day at Underground Athlete. So thanks for tuning in. I see a bunch of fellow Underground Athlete members. So I know I couldn't see you, but I can feel you in our presence. So thanks for joining. Have an awesome rest of your day.